Hello.
And welcome to the video
Game AV Club, where we watch movies and TV and stuff about adapted games. I don't really know.
connected to video
Is
games.
it like adaptation? No, but like
Inspired by
something like that. I don't know.
I'm Elise.
I'm Savvy.
And this month we're watching
Knuckles. It's just called Knuckles. It's a Paramount Plus. It says
miniseries.
Miniseries, yeah.
There's 6 episodes total.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be like 30 minutes each, but because this is Paramount Plus, and if you don't give them
more money,
your firstborn child, then you have to watch a bunch of ads, like a bunch of ads.
Yeah,
like, we watched 4 sets of ads. It felt like
4 ads each,
10 minutes,
and they were all for Paramount
Plus's things.
Yeah, it's all old Nickelodeon shows or new Nickelodeon shows.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So this is tied to the live action movies.
Yeah.
This takes place
after the
second movie.
Yeah. I think it's going to tie into the third movie, which is all about Shadow. Because in this movie we get introduced to Gun, which is the military force in the Sonic games. So, I don't know, maybe they'll reference it, maybe they won't, but we just watched 1 episode right now.
Yeah, so we just watched episode 1, which is The Warrior, and they all came out on April 26th, 2024. So, as of this recording, they came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And episode 1's synopsis is Knuckles struggles to adapt to his new life in Green Hills.
I guess that's short and sweet and to the point.
The whole theories thing, though, I feel like it evolves around Wade Whipple is what it looks like.
Yeah, you know, the like deputy to Marsden's guy's sheriff.
So, yeah, he's the deputy, and the sheriff's out of town, and so is the deputy.
Yeah, the deputy here, Wade, okay, is entering a bowling contest, but he got kicked out of his team because he was getting heckled by a little girl,
by an 8-year-old Girl Scout who took his spot because she distracted him by calling him a loser.
So he didn't get the strike he needed, so he got kicked off the team. So he's trying to train to get better at it.
And Knuckles is also having issues because he can't adapt, like the synopsis said.
Yeah, he's just there because he made an oath to.
Well, he's the last Echidna, right?
Last Echidna.
Echidna.
So he doesn't know what to do. So like the ghost of his. Is it like his tribe leader or is like his dad?
I think it's his tribe leader.
His tribe leader shows up and is like, you know what you should do?
Chief Pakamak.
He's
voiced by Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, it's like, you know what you should. You didn't actually go over all these celebrities that are in here.
No, so these are, again, it's the same thing as the movies. So they're voiced or acted by the same people. So I think as we go,
we'll just say their names.
Yeah. So just as an overall, that's like the overall arch is that Knuckles is trying to fit in because he made the oath. This is about
he's also
Knuckles and Wade.
Grounded because he tried to build a warrior arena in their living room.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out very well for him. But he doesn't care. And when the his chief or whatever shows up as a ghost and says, you should train this guy I saw in the newspaper who won a hot dog eating contest to win a bowling contest.
Yeah.
Knuckles is like, you got it. I don't have anything else to do anyway.
So it's the adventures of Wade, Knuckles, and Gun.
Yeah, so because Knuckles is leaving to go to the bowling contest with Wade, and it's in Reno, they're in Montana, so they got a long way to go.
Should we just start at the beginning and get
we already did. We're already on it.
Oh, well, Knuckles was grounded because he was kept attacking the construction crew.
And he built a gladiator arena in the living room.
And he tried to have the dog fight the mailman.
Yeah, it was chaos. And so, because they have to go to Reno, he's out of Green Hills. So Gun is like, perfect. It's time for us to go capture him. Because I guess if all 3 of them are together, they're like, too much for us. Can't handle that. But if one of them is separate, then Gun strikes. Which Gun is like just the military in Sonic. I don't remember what Gun stands for.
Guardian Units of Nations.
Okay, Guardian Units of Nations. So, I guess 2 rogue Gun agents is what I'm gonna say here.
Yeah, so Wade who's played by Adam Pally, he gets kicked off the team, and Knuckles, who is voiced by Idris Elba, shows up at his house while he's being struggle or smug. He's having issues.
He doesn't have a spotter, so the weight's fall on his chest, and he's about to die.
And then Knuckles just like throws it off, and it's like, I will train you to be a warrior because there is this champion of warriors that's a bowling thing, and Knuckles doesn't know anything about bowling. I mean,
he's pretty chill with it being bowling, to be honest.
Well, he gets introduced to bowling on this road trip.
Yeah.
But he has basically been told by Christopher Lloyd's Chief Packanack that he's got to train Whipple.
I think we've said this like 3 times now.
Probably. And so they're leaving, and these 2 gun agents are tracking him, and they're like, oh, he's left. A 3rd gun agent comes in, and he's like, oh, you're tracking them. But then she presses a button, and now only she can track him, and he's like, what are you doing? And then the guy has a ring, and he
has those teleporter rings from the movies.
Kicks him to the mushroom world.
So they're rogue agents, I guess. They're going rogue. They call some guy.
They call Dr. Robotnik's protege.
Oh, dip.
Is how he's listed, and that's played by Rory McCain, who is the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
So he apparently has a bunch of knuckle quills. I don't know when Knuckles shedded a lot, but
Robotnik started collecting them at the end of the second movie.
So he's using that to craft weapons with the energy power of the alien Sonic characters and use those to help fight them.
Yeah, so the gun agents are going to kidnap Knuckles to sell it to this guy and for payment.
Classic rogue agent move. Money is everything. So they're all equipped with like Nerf guns.
Yeah. So
superpowered Nerf guns and Nerf punchy gloves.
Whipple, who knows that Knuckles is grounded, decides to take Knuckles to Reno, and Knuckles is like, well, you can't be grounded if you don't have a home.
Fair enough.
And he's like, logic. So on the way to Reno, Knuckles is eating grapes.
That's his favorite food.
Which,
fun fact, they actually got that right.
Whipple is like, that's an interesting choice for someone who can't.
Who doesn't have individual fingers. And I was like, you know what, that's a good line. That's true. I never thought about it like that, but.
And he decides to introduce Knuckles to bowling. Knuckles is like super into bowling.
He's cool with it.
He's
he
like,
can just
like
chuck the ball right at the thing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares this alien is running around.
No one gives this alien a second look.
That's kind of true for the Sonic games. Like you go hang out with people and they're like, oh, it's just that it's that guy. Sonic. He's here.
We find out from Whipple that the reason why he likes bowling is because of his dad. But then his dad also ditched him in a TJ Maxx. He's like, oh, TJ Maxx.
Is that bad press for TJ Maxx? Are they gonna sue?
It's a discounted. It's probably product placement because we saw product placement with.
You're gonna be the department store that our main character's dad ditched him at.
We saw product placement with Cool Ranch Doritos that Knuckles was eating.
He stole from the construction workers that he beat up.
Yeah, and. Well, it's more advertisement that we're getting from Paramount Plus.
We're just added to so much.
TJ Maxx.
I don't know if that makes me want to go to a TJ Maxx, though. Just don't go with your dad. Like, I feel like that's bad. Like, do they have to pay TJ Maxx a bunch to be like, we're going to defame you?
What if TJ Maxx paid them? And they're like, this is TJ Maxx.
Embarrassing. Ross is better.
Dress for less. Family.
What's TJ Maxx's logo?
The Max? It's something weird.
Take it to the max. Maximize your shopping power. That's Food Max. But
where you can afford to be you to the max.
That's so long.
You to the max.
You to the max?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's where you can afford to be you to the max.
Okay. Well, that was fun facts. Aren't you glad you're here to think of the TJ Maxx slogan?
TJ Maxx.
So while they were bowling,
Knuckles just throws the ball at the pens. He's like, I'm really.
And like nobody cares. I think everyone in that bowling alley would be like, but I guess it's fine because there's an alien there. So our rogue gun agents come in via a teleporter ring, and they're in their lane, and they're like, oh, we're gonna go get you.
They look like they're getting ready to play laser tag. And so the girl. Let me give you character names.
Yeah, what is
Agent Willoughby, who's played by Ellie Taylor. She has like guns,
She has a gun, and our other
Agent Mason.
who's really obsessed with catchphrases.
Scott Mescud is Agent Mason. Yeah, he's trying to be cool catchphrases. He's got like
He's got the glove.
the gloves.
So they had a pretty decent fight scene. Like the effect.
We're impressed with the
amount of budget that went into the show. I'm like, dang, it's actually pretty good.
A cool bowling alley too.
Cool bowling alley.
They do the blacklight bowling alley too.
Yeah.
And well, he's like super excited. Let me show you. But they take over the guy's lanes. There's a bunch of just like one-liners.
Yeah.
This lane's reserved.
They're trying their best. Some of them are winners. So yeah, they fight. Wade is just like not helping.
Hiding.
He throws bowling balls.
Yeah, he gives bowling balls to Knuckles.
He throws them at the lady Willoughby's chest. Ow.
Yeah.
But she's fine. She's wearing armor. She uses like her guns to like shoot the ground, to throw her up in the air, to shoot at.
To spin and shoot.
Yeah, that's cool. But he is like throwing them around. He throws one of them down. He's about to finish one of them off when the other one throws a ring underneath him.
Willoughby throws a ring at him, and then he falls into a
cage that's in their car. Is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So he's officially kidnapped, and
all of this happens in the first 30 minutes of this
30 minutes
season?
And like 12 ads later. So Wade's like, oh my gosh, he got kidnapped and it's all my fault. I'm gonna do something really dumb.
And he picks up the
glove.
The glove.
So he's got to go save him in episode 2.
And that was it. But the ending of it, the credit scenes it's like back in the day when you had that huge book of CDs.
Yeah, you had a lot of those.
I did. Because that's what you put in your car and stuff.
You had those for like movies, didn't you? Oh no, you had
I have the other slips for the movies. Still. But yeah, I had like a binder of CDs.
You put the album cover behind it. Yeah.
But Knuckles is like animated, drawn.
Yeah, he's drawn onto the CDs. I used to doodle on my mixtape CDs all the time.
But he goes from like CD to CD, so he's actually like in different. So it was cool. We'll see if
it was cool. I like
that throughout the episode.
All right, episode 2 is next. Okay, we're on episode 2.
Don't ever say I wasn't there for you. Also, I have to make a correction from what I said.
Okay, yeah.
I said the dude was the Mountain from Game of Thrones. He's the Hound, and I realized it halfway through watching the second episode. Although he's not in the second episode at all. So
nope.
My brain does work occasionally.
So the reason it's called this is because of what movie was Wade watching? Because
he was watching Bad Boys.
Yeah, Wade's trying to go save Knuckles, right? He's in his car. Apparently Knuckles is trapped in a ski lodge, and that's where they're going to sell Knuckles to the buyer. In this abandoned ski lodge because nobody's there.
But it's like a closed one, but there's I mean it's very clean until they wreck everything.
Yeah, so he's parked out front. He apparently took his police car, which we didn't realize.
I thought he was in a different car.
And he's prepping and he's thinking about that one time when he watched
Bad Boys. Taking notes.
And having a bowl cut. Yeah. There's a weird cut to that, but whatever. I'm not the director. And so he's coming up with a plan in his head for how he's going to do this. And and they actually play it out as he's going to the convenience store to buy all his supplies.
He like walks in the convenience store and then you see he's now all of a sudden dressed in a tux and he pours.
I Need a Hero is playing because apparently it costs $1 to use it. Should that be our podcast intro? And it's probably like super cheap.
Or Paramount owns it, or Universal owns it.
Someone owns it.
Someone owns it, and they're using everything. So he pour in the delusion. You can tell it's a delusion because he's in a tuxedo. And he does like flips in the air later. But he pours motor oil on the ground and Agent Mason.
He like throws the motor oil after he's done at his head. Which
it's like...
He's looking out a window. Then he's like, oh, and then he runs after him and slips on the motor oil. And Wade just slides next to him like a cool guy.
Puts his like arm out and he
knocks him over. Yeah. And then he decides that he's going to come down from the ceiling with dental floss.
Mm-hmm. Dental floss is going to hold this man up.
Because this whole show is so fantastical anyway, I was
Mhm.
like, you know what, the motor oil could have happened, and that the dental floss I think really took me out of it.
The dental floss, and then he takes a lighter and hairspray, and he
He
like napalms the
the
girl, but
girl, but she's
she's just
fine. It's
yeah,
fine.
her hair's just a little messed
It's
up.
rated PG for
Mhm.
crass language, not violence.
And he ends up getting Knuckles out and is like carrying him,
Yeah,
and
and
then does several flips,
uh-huh.
and then sets off fireworks, and
Hmm.
then the traditional hug at the end.
Yeah.
And then he wades in the convenience store, and the guy was like, "Do you need anything else?" And he's like, "Yes."
Blue raspberry icy.
Yeah.
More product placement, I guess.
Hmm. Where
Is it because it's an icy specifically?
yes, the specific brand, and
I see.
yeah, I'm distracted by all the product placement.
You are. You missed a whole scene.
I did. I was like trying to look. They were at a burger joint at the end, and I'm like,
What burger joint
What burger
is it?
joint
And it
is
was
that?
literally like it's like Burger Shack,
Yeah.
like some generic, or it's the only one that didn't have product placement. Anyway, so he bought all of his stuff. He's about to go and break into the place.
yeah, he puts it all on the ground, and then he puts the big knuckle things on, and he's like, all right, epic music time. And he pulls up
But
Spotify,
he says Spotify.
and he can't press the button, so he tries to do it with his nose, and then Paula Cole, I don't want to wait.
Yeah.
Comes on. He's like, oh no, he throws the phone.
Too late now. So that song plays as his gloves kind of go out of control.
And then sets everything off. The motor oil like spills on everything.
It spills onto the car, which
Then the
and
lighter
then
falls.
the lighter falls and opens a little bit and cracks to hit the spray, which also falls, which causes it to spray at the motor oil on the car. And in the car was the fireworks, so all the fireworks go off, which distracts our bad guys
Yeah, the
enough
agents.
to come outside.
Who were like smack talking Knuckles inside at the beginning,
Yeah,
and that wasn't important.
Not really.
And so they come out, and
They come out and he's just standing there like, I can't. The fireworks were supposed to be for the end.
yeah, he's having a moment, and they're just like,
And they're like, it's that guy.
they're like also calling him fat in this, and this guy's not fat, so
They're being mean.
they're being extra mean. And then his knuckles start beeping, and he's like, "Well, what's that for?" And then he opens a slip, and
It goes off and it goes up in the
projects
air.
him all over the
It
place.
projects him into the ski lodge through a window, and so
into like the restaurant.
Agent Mason is like, "I'll take care of it. You handle Knuckles." What's her name? Willoughby?
Something like that.
Um, so Mason goes there. For some reason, Wade left one of the gloves on the floor
Yeah,
of
that
this
was weird.
like cafeteria area of the ski lodge. And so he picks it up, obviously, because he's like, I used to be a boxing guy.
Yeah, bare knuckle boxing. He's like, didn't I ever tell you I used to do bare knuckle boxing? And
He's like,
and
we
Whipple's
literally
like,
just met.
yeah, we just met. And he's trying to hide like
He's
his face is one of the mannequins.
Yeah,
but
it didn't work out because
no.
if you look from the side.
Yeah, his old butt sticking out.
So they get into a
He
fight.
gets worked.
He gets destroyed. Basically, he
Like I just picks them up with the
gloves.
knuckles
He
and
gets a
throws
phone
them all
call
over the
from
place.
his mom, his Mason.
Yeah,
and
Agent Mason.
It's like choking out Wade, and he gets a phone call, and he's like,
"Hi,
"It's my mom. I have
Mrs.
to take
What's
it."
your name, Mason?
But because of that,
my work friend. He's like, we're friends. And like, no.
because of that distraction, Wade was able to throw sriracha into Mason's eyeballs.
Yes.
Which you said can cause actual blindness.
Yeah.
Has that happened before?
Oh, probably.
Has people squirted sriracha
Peppers.
into people's
Peppers, yeah.
eyeballs? So he srirached him so hard that he fell through the glass door
The
and
sriracha like
passed
factory there was an issue because there was a shortage, but
Mm-hmm.
also like people that were living by the factory were having like severe issues, like breathing issues. So
oh my god. So Agent Mason's down. Wade comes out to handle Wallaby, who's standing by the Knuckles cage with the gun. And his plan is to just shoot his rocket arm at Knuckles' cage.
yeah.
Which it like blew a hole through the wall.
Yes. And just briefly knocked out Willoughby. And,
And he's fine. He's
Knuckles
like
is
hugging
fine.
Knuckles.
Willoughby's or not Willoughby. Whipple's fine.
I don't know how that worked out, but cartoon logic, it worked out. So Knuckles is out and grabs Wade, and he glides away with Wade on his back.
He's like, I didn't know you could fly, which is the exact conversation that we had, when we were watching it, I was like, I didn't know he could fly. And Savvy's like, he can glide.
Yeah.
And then we just
He can
looked
glide
at
for
that.
short distances,
short
which is
distances.
exactly what he says. And he drops Wade,
And Wade falls in a dumpster.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So they
steal a
need
truck.
a new car. So they steal a car, and Wade's like, there's no keys in this car. But Knuckles can just start cars with his knuckles.
Yeah, he's got that little
Fun facts.
like spiky thing on his stomach.
Yeah, I don't know how that shoves
puts
into a
into
tiny
the
heel, but
Then they go get burgers.
they go get burgers and they talk about, I don't know.
Wade's a final, like a solid. He's like, from a scale of 1 to warrior, you're a solid 3. And Wade's like, oh, I put that on my
That's pretty good.
dating profile.
I mean, he did come and save him,
3.
and he succeeded. So that's true. And they talked about how both of them were betrayed in the past.
Mm-hmm. And Knuckles, we find out again, doesn't have a home, and
he's
kind of like, why? He's like, you're kind of a warrior. Why are you being in this loser place where there's no wars? And he's like, because it's home.
Because it's home. It's very pro small town. These movies.
Then they get back in the truck and they're leaving, and there's a interruption to their
music. They're rocking it.
Like a hurricane.
So apparently the DJs talk about bounties in Montana. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in Montana, but
he's also known as the guy who won the Hot Pocket eating contest.
yeah, it wasn't hot dogs. I'd like to make a correction on my last episode. It wasn't hot dogs with hot pockets. So,
damn, eating that many Hot
God.
Pockets. They're like,
what kind of Hot Pocket? It's probably the pepperoni one, I'm assuming. The classic, which would heartburn a clock.
And a massive amount of calories, too.
He's bulking for his bowling contest. So, yeah, he's wanted, apparently, by Gunn. But like they're rogue agents trying to sell.
Yeah, it was a weird announcement. It was like they put it. He's like, "Oh, this guy's in a lot of trouble," but it made it sound like he was in trouble with the law. But then he is the law.
Yeah, he is the law. We know we're gonna see his bounty hunter friend that kicked him out of the bowling thing soon.
Yes,
because he said he was. We didn't say that last episode, but the friend that kicked him out, he's a bounty hunter and also a novelist, by the way.
Yes.
So
and it goes by his full name too.
Yeah, so we'll probably see him again, but they need to find a place to lay low for a little bit because the sun is up and they will be seen. So they decide to go to Wade's mom's house,
who is played by Stalker Channing.
Her name is Stalker.
Stalkered.
Oh, still that's crazy. What a name.
You know Stalker Channing?
I know.
She's in Grease.
Okay.
She's in like a massive amount of stuff. So just to be like, oh yeah, she's in Grease. No, she's in Practical Magic. She was in.
I think I might be a little too young for this.
Practical Magic.
I've never saw Practical Magic.
What?
Yeah.
She was in the Cleveland Show. Well,
why would I know anything about the Cleveland Show?
I've not seen West Wing. Muscle Dogs. Did you see that?
No. Okay, we're gonna go to the next episode. Yeah. Hello, we're back. It's episode 3.
The Sabbat dinner.
Yeah. So a couple corrections.
Not really corrections. We just omitted.
So the opening we talked about in episode 1,
or the closing,
is actually the opening.
At least
with him running around
2 episodes, DVDs. But we just paused on episode 4 and it's not, so we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
But a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle commercials we've been watching, and now his bed is also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But that's the next episode. So talking about the Shabbat dinner, which is a Jewish Saturday dinner.
Yeah. Fugitives, or Friday night.
Well, they like start preparing on Friday night, and then it goes into Saturday because the Jewish like day of rest is Saturday, their holy day. Fugitives from the law, Knuckles and Wade hide out with Wade's family. Yeah,
so Wade went to see his mom at the end of the last episode, and his sister's also there.
His sister, Wanda Whipple. So it's Wade and Wanda and Wendy Whipple.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Good group. So his sister's an FBI agent, and they have kind of a competitive sibling relationship.
They have like an abusive sibling relationship.
Yeah, she abuses him, basically, is how that goes down.
She's played by Edie Patterson, which she's done a bunch of like bit parts. She does like improv stuff as well, but nothing that I would know her.
So they introduced Knuckles. The mom was like, "Oh, you brought somebody over? Is it a girlfriend?" is she Jewish? And then they're like,
Yeah,
oh,
it
it's
was
an
kind of
alien.
weird. It's an alien, and then the mom passes out.
Yeah. Knuckles
The
is very polite
Yeah,
about it.
the sister works for the FBI, and she looks down on her brother because he's just local police.
Yeah.
But she's working for like the Secretary of Transportation, and
Is
he's in
here.
town.
Yeah, so she's
And we find Wade has not been home for a couple
2 years.
years and a couple months and a couple days. Like the mom knows for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, Knuckles being very polite about it, very nice to the mom. It's a Friday night, I guess, so it's Shabbat dinner. Anyway, they light 2 candles and they have dinner together, and then they eat dessert while watching a movie, and it was a family night thing that it was very traumatic for Wade, I guess, growing up, because his sister would try to attack him, and
there was a goat at one
there was
point.
there was like a flashback where they were kids and he was screaming, and but we go through the dinner anyway, and we learn a couple things about his family that's probably not necessary, but
His mom was a Krav Maga instructor.
yeah, that was her job, and the 2 kids, Wade and Wanda, get
They
into a
like
fight.
hate each other.
Yeah.
And they do, like, the sister, like, steals his spoon, and then he's like, that's my spoon. And she's like, no, it's not. And then she throws it, and then
He talks about how he knows someone in Gun, and she's like, I know somebody in Gun, but they both don't know anyone in Gun.
so they make up a stupid name.
Jim Gun Agent.
Yeah.
And then eventually Wanda stabs her brother with a fork.
With a fork. Like, it's sitting up, like, by itself in his
And
arm.
he runs off to his room, and meanwhile, like, the mom and Knuckles are having a nice conversation about how Knuckles' family got destroyed by giant owls and stuff like that.
She's like, oh, you're practically Jewish.
Wade had to make sure that Knuckles says that he is half Jewish on his mom's side. It's very important.
The mom's side is important. Well, that actually has I don't know, that is a historical thing with the I'm going to mispronounce it. We were drinking our grapes while we were watching the show. Not Gavi.
Oscanavi?
Yes, thank you. Too. The word it's there, but
Ashkenazi?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are like 4 main families, and they came from 4 women. So that is the reason why it's important on your mother's side. But
eventually we cut to, like, Wade's in his room. It's very decked out. Like, it's weird to me in these shows that the parents leave the kids' rooms untouched. Because
so untouched that
there's still like knickknacks and stuff,
and his Walkman with his jams, and he hasn't been there in at least 2 years. But the Walkman will work.
I mean,
and he'll listen.
What if he changed the batteries 2 years ago? I think it could still work.
I don't know. I think they would have been corroded by then. But he's listening to one of his jams is Blink-182, and we have established in the first episode that Knuckles doesn't like music, but Wade really likes music, and he keeps trying to find Knuckles' jam.
Yeah, so he had Knuckles listen to his music. He sees a giant poster of the champion, and he was like, "Who is that?" And he's like, "Knuckles."
Your
asks, "Who is
father or your family's name?"
And that was his dad, who was a bowling champion.
So come to find out, the reason why Wade wants to go to Reno for this bowling tournament is because his dad's gonna be there. And
yeah.
Like Knuckles says, you want to overthrow your dad.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, this is exciting, actually. This is,
He's like, what? Wade's like, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. I didn't know about this at all.
Yeah. So he's lying. He knew the whole time.
So yeah, his dad didn't just disappear. His dad has like a whole bowling life.
A whole bowling life outside of him after the TJ Maxx incident.
So listen to some jams. And then
Knuckles goes to watch
Pretty
Woman with Wade's mom,
Wendy,
where they eat key lime pie and they watch Pretty Woman.
And she talks about how this used to be a tradition for them, but it looks like even as kids they had a horrible Shabbat experience. Though.
Yeah. So, well, she even said so. She was like, they never even stayed for the dessert and movie. It was just mainly we watching my stories.
But also for a kid show that has a bunch of kid advertisements, the fact that they're watching Pretty Woman and talking about streetwalkers is a little odd to me, but to each their own.
But Knuckles and the mom are bonding, while the other, eventually the bounty hunters catch up to them.
Yeah, because we see this large man. He's flipping through like wanted posters.
Yeah, he's just on a binder, and then he's like, "Oh, we found an easy one, boys."
And it's a pretty good picture of Wade going like, "Oh my goodness!" And
he's making that
$100,000.
YouTuber like, "Oh" face. You know what I mean? The YouTuber "Oh" face.
Yeah. And so he presses one button on this ancient phone.
Every single bounty hunter.
So Wade is like sitting on his bed, or lying down on his bed, or I
I
don't know.
think he's trying to nap or something. His sister's in the living room reading a book called How Not to Be Taken Off Guard. So you know how this is gonna go down.
Mm-hmm. And you see people like
I mean, she's
walking in the
only halfway
background.
through. Can't blame her.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are walking around. They attack Wade first.
It, like comes through the
He
window
comes
or
through the window. He has like a
cattle
electric
prod.
cattle prod, like all bounty hunters do. And they take Wade out, but Knuckles shows up just in time to throw him through the wall.
And into the neighbor's house.
Yep.
Then a guy with a large
Chain.
chain comes in, and the sister's like,
Straight out of Road Rage.
she's like, you're like out of a 90s movie. And she's like, you're stupid. We're a house full of law enforcement. And of course,
she can't back it up. I thought she might. I thought she really would.
She has her FBI jacket on, but then she takes out her badge and says FBI.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, you can buy an FBI shirt. Yeah. You could lie. But yeah, she has to get saved by Knuckles, who throws the chain guy around. And then finally we see the mom, who's in the kitchen with two other bounty hunters.
And she's got the 2 candles for the Shabbat.
Yeah, slowly
like,
burning.
don't let the candles go
Knuckles shows up and she's like, make sure the candles don't go out. And then they have I like the fight scene where they like go around the table, like the camera angle.
It's like an island that
That's
they're going to.
pretty cool. I like
and
that.
And she's hitting them with like pots and pans, and Knuckles is hitting the other guy, and the mom is the only one who...
Yeah, she has Krav Maga training. She's an instructor, so... But she's not even using Krav Maga. She's just, like, throwing stuff, and...
She's, like, spraying people with water and, like, hitting them with pans.
Yeah. But, managed to take both those guys out without the candles going out, so...
And they all 3 stand together, and then you see, finally, the candles go out on their own, and she's like, best Shabbat ever.
And that's the end of the episode.
Yep.
That was it. Okay, we're on episode 4 now.
The Flames of Disaster. In order to learn where Knuckles' true strength lies, Wade must see the world through his eyes. This was a weird
one, but like they're all kind of weird.
It's like a dream sequence.
It starts out with like the house being destroyed, and we're listening to "Good Morning" from
Good Morning.
Raining in the Singing in the Rain. Raining in the Sing.
Good obviously. Morning, good morning. And yeah, he's like, so Wade gets up and he's in a robe and he's getting coffee, but like the door of the fridge comes off.
Yeah, because obviously in the last episode, the bounty hunters like wrecked their house, but they still slept in it last night and it was fine. So, but we start with him getting lassoed and
he decides to go outside with his cup of coffee and he's like, today is going to be a good day. And then it's around his like ankle and he gets dragged everywhere.
And he's like, Knuckles, help me. And Knuckles comes out with the whole coffee pot and is like, yeah, no, I think you can do this yourself, Wade. You know, I think you can handle this.
He must learn to be a warrior. So Wade is kidnapped, or I think there's like a professional word for it.
He's bounty hunted.
Bountied.
He got bounty hunted by his former friend who kicked him off the bowling team.
Jack Sinclair.
Yes. And we see Jack Sinclair has the hat that Knuckles wears from the Sonic OVA, which is the best movie ever made. So we know Knuckles is going to get that hat. So
well, he's wearing it at the beginning of the
doesn't stand a chance. And also in the promotional art. So kind of spoiler there. He doesn't stand a chance. But anyway, he locks him in a circus cage behind
an electrified circus cage.
That has like a sign that says a bounty caught by Jack Sinclair. It's like with an arrow.
And he got it on Facebook Marketplace, if you're wondering.
Yeah, there's so much Facebook Marketplace references in this one. But he's in his huge limo.
It's like an SUV limo is now pulling this like animal circus cage. And
that's the SUV limo that was brought up in episode 1 with the dad of the Girl Scout we talked about was like using it to go to Reno.
So Jack Sinclair has some sweet locks. That's what he's known for.
Yeah, every guy with long hair is just known as the guy with long hair. So like I get it. It's your whole personality. It's like being tall or being really short. You just kind of absorb it and you're like, that's who I am now. So if you grow any taller or shorter, then it's over for you. You have to restart. You have to go to a new town, get a new name, become average height person.
And he electrifies the whole bars of the animal thing with a very simple switch that I'm sure you could reach around.
But he can't figure out Wade, our boy, can't figure out how to get through that. But he like super electrocutes Wade enough that he's
He like
passed
passes
out and
out.
goes into a dream sequence where he's back at the bowling alley from episode 2 because they have to use that set again because it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
With
there
the
is
chief
Chief's Knuckles
Packham
Chief guy.
Pack, and he can't say it either. So
Okay, well, so he's there and he's like, we gotta teach you a lesson. You have to remember, like what Knuckles did in the
yeah.
past.
So there's this weird puppetry
It's a
live stage
rock opera.
performance. Yeah, the rock opera that is sung by bounty hunter Jack Sinclair as well as Michael Bolton.
Michael Bolton plays Wade in a way. He doesn't play. He voices Wade.
Yes.
So when
He
Wade
sings
is singing,
as Knuckles because
as
Wade is also
Knuckles.
dressed up in like a Knuckles onesie.
So from the rock opera, we learn that Knuckles' dad died from the birds circling him.
And there's a monster that shoots fireballs too.
And then he has to go fight a giant lava monster that shoots fireballs. And what he needs to learn from it, because he comes out of the thing prematurely thinking his power is in his fist, and that doesn't work out because he punches the cage and gets electrocuted, and then has to go back into the dream sequence to realize that the power was actually in his fist the whole time, and he has to punch up.
We forgot that when he was in the cage, he gets a phone call from Knuckles who says, just meditate. And so that's where this whole thing started to come from. And so he goes back into the dream sequence while the bounty hunter and the little Girl Scout and her parents are in this limousine, and he's like singing, the bounty hunter is singing karaoke and then throws the mic at the dad who he doesn't remember his name and doesn't care to learn it.
He doesn't. Like, he's making them sing karaoke. They're very unhappy to be in there. The girl's just playing her Switch.
They're
she's doing
very
fine.
far apart. They're on opposite sides of this limo.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know what that guy learned from that puppet show, rock opera, because it seems like just use your fist, but like punch up instead.
Yeah, he got the rest of the story, but somehow he gained confidence in his punching abilities and punched out of the top of the...
Yeah, and then superhero landed next to some kids on a bike.
And then the SUV limo pulls over and he's like, James Sinclair, I challenge you to a duel. And he's got these, the bounty hunter has these like sharp swords and he throws
on his motorcycle. And he's like, perfect. I would love a duel. Thank you for asking. Mm-hmm. So he gets on his motorcycle and goes to the corner and is like, you have to get a vehicle too, Wade.
Like, what?
But they're like too far away. So they have the whole bit where they're like, what are you saying? You know, classic.
He's like, get a vehicle. So he tries to take this kid's bike, and the kid's like, I'll give it to you for 10 grand.
He's like, here's $4. I'm a police officer. I'm commandeering this. He gives it $4. I can't believe you had $4 in your PJs. What a wealthy man. So they both get swords from that guy's bike, and they're jousting, I guess was the plan. They're jousting with vehicles.
It's like chicken.
So, Wade manages to cut off
the James Sinclair.
Oh, I thought his name was Ian, but that's a different guy.
Or Jack Sinclair, sorry. Jack Sinclair. So Jack Sinclair docks at the last minute and he ends up cutting off his ponytail.
And that was his only personality. So he gives up.
Samsoned him.
He's like, I'm over. I'm been equally matched. So
he makes him give him his leather jacket, his leather vest, and his bowling shirt with his name on it. Jack's name on it.
Well, he took his bowling shirt with his name on it.
Yes.
And gave it to that little girl. So now he's equally as evil.
So instead of continuing to Reno, he
steals that guy's bike.
Yeah.
And his hat and his shirt and his other shirt and his other shirt. And then he goes back to his house.
His mom's house.
Picks up Knuckles. He gives Knuckles the hat because he's very polite.
She's like, get off the lawn.
And now him and his mom behind him, because he's on a motorcycle with Knuckles. Knuckles is driving the motorcycle, by the way, which I don't know why he can do that, but whatever. Just a cool guy. Yeah. And so they're riding to Reno. They have 100 miles to go, and the mom and the sister are behind them in an SUV.
And what happened to the Girl Scout?
Who cares?
Isn't she on the team? Don't you need multiple bowlers?
She's not on the team anymore.
Is it Knuckles? Did Knuckles replace the Girl Scout girl?
We have a whole team right there. Yeah. We got the mom, the sister, Knuckles, Wade. I don't know. Maybe they'll come back. Anyway, next episode.
Now on to episode 5.
So we're on episode 5.
Reno, baby.
We're in Reno. Um,
We start in the lobby of the actual
National. I forgot. I looked it up. I was like, "Is this real?" It's like National
bowling
Bowling
like
Stadium. I think is what it's
amphitheater.
called, and it's actually a place you can go to in Reno, which is pretty cool.
It's like a casino with a large bowling alley. It's like multiple floors of bowling alleys. What it's
Yeah,
kind of like.
it's a big bowling alley complex, which sounds very fun. So yeah, you're in there, and then we meet up with Wade's sister and mom, who were planning to meet them there anyway.
Yeah.
And then we meet Wade's dad.
Who is in this like Union Jack outfit and
Yeah,
is just like balling and dancing around, giving chips to everyone.
yeah.
And Wade's like, "Oh, I'm so nervous. How am I gonna talk to him?"
My dad's so cool. We were like, is he British? Turns out he's not. He's just faking it, which is very funny.
And his dad is played by Carrie Yules, by the
Yeah.
way. The As You Wish Scottish guy from that Netflix romance movie.
Yeah.
with
That's the only
Brooke
two things I
Shields.
know him from.
He was in Twister. He played the bad guy. He's in Psych.
There was
He's
a
in
bad guy
Arthur.
in Twister that wasn't the
That wasn't the
tornado.
tornado. Yeah, it was their opposing team that ends up dying from a.
Who's siding
tornado.
with the tornado?
They were competing for information on the tornado.
Ah. So
Knuckles.
he wants to talk to his dad, but he's really nervous about it. So Knuckles has to like talk to him through an AirPod that he put in his ear to have him
And
talk.
the dad's like, "Why are you talking so strange?" Of course, he hasn't seen his son in like decades.
Yeah.
So he talks weird, like he's like, "Oh, I came here to destroy you, but now
But
I've come in peace." And
yeah.
the dad's like, "Why are you talking so weird?" And then Knuckles ends up saying something like,
he gets
"You look just like me," and he ends up talking to a mascot.
he gets distracted by like a mascot of a California raisin who's there for like a mascot competition. So Wade takes this opportunity to just talk to his dad one-on-one. And he's bonding with his dad.
Yeah.
They seem to be getting along pretty well. And then we cut to like a really long montage of the bowling tournament.
Well, we have, which is being covered by ESPN-H or the Ocho.
The Ocho.
And
You thought it was a joke.
I did, because it's on Dodgeball.
But it turns out it's an actual
So you
thing.
have the announcers, which is Rob Hubel and Paul Scheer, who are actors, comedians, and they're the ones that are the announcers for the Ocho. So that you just see a bunch of montage of them bowling and winning, and
Wade's winning.
it's like a bracket tournament, and they keep getting moved up closer together. So you know that it's going to be the dad, and we don't even meet the dad's partner.
No, we don't know his team.
Because it's a doubles tournament.
Yeah, so Wade's partner is the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
She showed up. So that's all that's happening. It was a very, very long.
And then we cut to the
our
agents,
our gun agents.
Forgot about because they haven't been in an
been a
episode.
while. So they talked about. I don't know if we talked about this previously, but they had a scene where they were like, well, "You don't go back on this guy's deal because he'll just kill you."
He also doesn't have a name.
Robotnik's BFF.
Protege, yeah. And
So-
we find out
they kidnap.
Yeah.
He sends people to kidnap the gun agents.
and
so,
takes him to his workshop.
Takes him to his workshop and is basically giving them another chance because he talks about what happened to him in the
He used
past.
to work for Gunn, and when Gunn
Gunn got rid of Robotnik. He was on Robotnik's team
Mm-hmm.
and Gunn because Robotnik also worked for Gunn. So they tried to like get rid of him and kill him. So he decided to go underground.
and now he sells his stuff on the black market.
Yeah, and we hear a backstory from Willoughby, one of the other agents, Whipple, who says that she is
not
mad.
Whipple. Sorry, Whipple's the.
It's Willoughby.
It is Willoughby. You were correct. Whipple is the.
Whipple's the name of the
family,
Wade and stuff.
They look. Their IMDb pictures look kind of similar. Look at that.
What?
Which one's the sister and which one's the agent?
Brown-haired white girls, am I right? Oh, she had a thing against Gunn because she used to work for the extraterrestrial field, full X-Files here, but then when
When
the
someone
aliens
showed up,
and the Gunn is like, just let them live in Montana and hang out.
and she's like, no.
And she's pretty mad about that, so she's very against Gunn.
Well, she voiced her concerns, and then she got put behind a desk and had to plan that fake wedding from the second movie?
Yeah, from the second movie. So she's pretty mad about that. So she wants revenge on Gunn. The other guy is just doing it for money, I'm
Yeah.
assuming. Mason.
Well, now they're not even going to get money for catching Knuckles.
No.
They're only going to be able to live. But he
Yeah.
still outfits them in like the gear that they have, though.
Yeah. So they're gonna go kidnap Knuckles later on because we cut back to the casino where Wade's talking with his dad about why'd you leave me in a TJ Maxx?
His talking to his dad about the birds and the bees because he wanted the talk, and the dad's like, "I'm surprised you haven't heard about this before." And he's like, "Oh, I have. I just wanted to have the talk." And then he talks about like, "Oh, why did you leave us?" And still wants a relationship with his dad. And then you see in the background, you see
the mom.
the mom, and she kind of turns around and goes up the escalator.
Yeah, and later she talks to Wade about like, don't really trust him.
Yeah.
He's kind of a.
She's like, it seems like we figured it out and had a good life, but we really struggled, and he's a douchebag.
And he's like, well, you might have your relationship with him, but I want to still have one. So she just says, be careful. But then when she leaves, she goes in the elevator and there's Agent Mason. So you know that girl about to get kidnapped.
Yeah.
So
where's her Kramaga?
Yeah, it's true. So
he gets invited up to his dad's penthouse. We haven't seen Knuckles this whole time either. You see him at the very beginning. He's driving the motorcycle.
He talks to
and he's wearing the hat. Yeah.
This isn't about him anymore. This is about bowling and father-son relationships.
So Wade goes up to the penthouse, and he's got his own private balcony.
Yeah. So
and
he
tools that like
has
when you
a
sit on it, they go down.
Themed penthouse, which is pretty badass. And he's like, "Oh, son, do you want to see my private bedroom suite? Right this way." And it's the two gun agents holding the mom and the sister hostage.
And the sister's like, "Dad, you suck hard."
Yeah.
And we find out Wendy's real name is Gwendolyn, and like that the guy, she's like, "Why do you have a British accent, you tool? You're from Slow."
And like they're threatening, they're like, "We're gonna kill your sister," and he's like, "Do that."
Yeah,
I don't care.
I'm okay with that.
I don't like my sister. So they're like, "What about your mom?" He's like, "No, don't kill my mom. Yeah, I'll bring Knuckles to you." So he has to go back down and get Knuckles.
And he has to be on the phone the whole
just
time.
like watching TV.
He's watching telenovelas.
Yeah, he's having a great time, and he's like, "Do you want to come up and see my dad's suite?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure do." So he puts on his special hat, and
he's like, "Sure, put on your cute hat."
Yeah.
And then he puts him in the elevator, but he was like, "Oh no, I forgot my name tag." And then Wade gets out of the elevator, and then the doors close, and Knuckles is like, says something about them being friends, and Wade's then on the phone after the door closes. He's like, he's on his way up.
So that's where we
and that's the end of the 5th episode. Now on to the 6th, which is the last
one. What happens in Reno stays in Reno, baby. Okay, last episode. Episode 5.
6.
I'm 6. Dang.
What happens in Reno stays in Reno. The friendship between Knuckles and Wade is tested as enemies new and old converge in Reno.
So we left off where Knuckles was going up to the ambush at Wade's dad's penthouse suite. But it turns out he had the like other AirPod earpiece in the whole time.
Yeah.
Like the whole time, the whole day.
Yeah, because he had it when he was speaking for Wade when he first re-met his dad.
Yeah.
And then so he knew what was going on the whole time.
The whole time.
And he ended up having the mascot costume from before in the elevator. And so they shot up when the elevator doors opened. The two agents like shot it up, and he was on the ceiling.
Yeah. So he attacks them. Wade goes in to save his family.
And he got locked in handcuffs so many times that Tom gave him a key to wear.
Like master key for all handcuffs.
And he lets his mom out, but his sister's like, "No, I'm going to
escape
break my thumb."
Like special FBI trick.
And yeah, he's like, "Just let me save you." And the mom's like, "Just let him save you." And she's like, "No, I got it."
I mean, she did eventually.
He was gross.
But yeah, Knuckles manages to take out both of those agents.
So there's a bunch of fighting, and then Agent Willoughby shoots the two rings at him, and it ends up where one goes into the other, or like you go through one, and it's like feels like Portal the game.
Yeah.
And then Knuckles like hits them so that they're in this loop, and then he jumps, and everything's being sucked into one or two portals, and then the two rings end up converging,
And so they're lost in a void, I guess. We don't know where
we
they
don't know where they
are.
are.
It doesn't matter.
And then Knuckles is like, you have your tournament is going on right now
So he's got to go to his
to
tournament.
vanquish his dad.
Who just dipped because
Yeah.
he's going to the tournament.
And there's this big introduction about Pistol Pete, and the announcers are talking about the fact that he left his son at a TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if you were going to leave a son anywhere, it should be TJ Maxx. I wish my dad would have left me at a TJ Maxx.
Yeah, it has great prices.
And he has this big intro. So this is a tournament of 2 people, and yet only one of them on each team matters.
Yeah, one of them on
That
each
was
team.
weird. They don't even like really introduce the other guy.
Yeah, they're just kind of like the caddies, you know?
Yeah. And so they're getting ready to introduce Wade, and they do this whole introduction, and then Wade doesn't appear. And he's like,
takes a long time.
Let me try that again. He's like 4 times, and he finally comes in.
shows up, and they
to change.
smack talk each other.
Really poorly, but the announcers are like, ooh, I feel like this is a private conversation.
I mean, kind of is.
It was funny. They were funny, the announcers. I thought they were good. But...
So, I mean, you just have the tournament montage.
they're just bowling strikes the whole time, and they're down to the final pin. But Knuckles is at the bar.
He's watching the contest at the bar.
And another mascot comes next to him and orders a beer, and he asks for like halal bread.
Yeah, and he gets it.
Yeah.
So,
A whole loaf.
so he's just hanging out at the bar when they hear a commotion outside.
People
so
like screaming and running.
Knuckles goes out to check it out, and it turns out that the guy's called the buyer. We were calling him Robotnik's prodigy or something.
Which is how he's listed in IMDb, but then because we have the
subtitles
on, they referred to him as the buyer, which I was like, was a way better name for him.
So his name's the buyer, and he is in a giant mech.
Yeah.
Just in Reno, just coming down the street, and he just immediately grabs Knuckles. But then we are left in suspense because we have to go back to the tournament.
So the dad is on the last frame and he bowls, but he does what Wade does in the first episode where there's 1 pin left. Mm-hmm. And Wade's like, oh, I'm sure you could get a spare. And the announcer's like, oh, the smack talk.
Yeah, dang. And he does get a spare.
And then Wade's up. And so if he gets a strike, then tournament over, he wins.
Well, he gets the same thing where he's like the one wobbly one, but he actually has his follow.
Yeah. And Savvy the whole time was like...
I was so sure that, like, the Knuckles fight outside was going to hit and it's going to cause his pin to fall over and he was going to win. Yeah. But they didn't do that. They waited until he won of his own accord, and then Knuckles got thrown into the building.
Yeah.
And told Wade to get his people out of here. And Wade went through the hole to go save his friend while everyone runs screaming.
Yes. And the little Girl Scout was saved by her parents to come and get her, so good for them. I like how during the bowling tournament, though, the mom was like, next time she has to do an after-school activity, she's taking piano lessons. Like, they are over this.
Well, she's already a Girl Scout, so she's busy. Yeah.
Wade comes in, when he comes in finally, and he does the costume reveal where he rips his pants off, and, like, both the mom and the dad of the Girl Scout are, like, really impressed by it. It was weird.
So Wade goes outside to see the giant mech, which has Knuckles in his grasp and like sucks all of the power out of him.
And then just kind of like throws him on the ground.
And just throws him on the ground. So Wade's like, oh yeah, I'm not scared of you. And then the mech comes closer and he's like, you called my bluff. I am scared of him, actually. Oops. But then the mom and the sister come in the bowling mobile.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Wienermobile, but it's like a bowling ball. And it's got bowling balls on the side.
And it's got bowling balls on the sides. It's a bowling pin. And
the dad's pretending to be British, and his bowling ball has a freaking teacup in it. It's like clear.
It's kind of awesome. Yeah. A lot of attention to detail there.
Because you see it like close up as it's slowly rolling towards the pins. Yeah. But back to what's actually happened. So Wade is given the hands from the sister, and the sister says, I heard you needed a hand.
Yeah. So he gets the super strong hands, and he can take the bowling balls from the bowling pin mobile and just chucks it at the mech, which honestly, could work. Yeah. If you chuck a bowling ball hard enough, it would probably damage a giant robot.
As he's doing it, he's telling Knuckles is still unconscious, but he's like, what a true warrior is
protects his friends and his family and blah, 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 blah.
Has a home. And that ends up waking him up.
Yeah, that's like in the first movie when
It was really
Jason
sweet.
Marsden gives his speech and it wakes up Sonic, and so that's all the Sonic characters need. They need a speech about friendship and like love.
Oh.
So Knuckles then has like the flame of disaster.
Well, he reabsorbs all of his power back
Mm.
from the mech, and then
He has like
his
magical flying flaming fists.
yeah
His lame.
flames.
Wow.
His fists are flames. Is what I tried to say.
So he, fights the mech and wins.
Just like hits him like 3 times, and like each time like a chunk of stuff comes off.
Yeah.
And then they drop the big bowling. So Wade shoots the fist, and that knocks the giant bowling.
Yeah, there's
ball,
a giant
disco
like
ball.
Epcot ball on the side of this building, which when I looked it up, it actually was like, whoa, look at that. So it's kind of funny that he just picks that up and drops it on top of him. So he's balled to death.
And then back into the bowling tournament, Scumdad Pete is
stealing the
trophy, and the announcer's like,
I don't think he can do that. Is that legal?
He's stealing a trophy? He didn't win the tourney.
Yeah.
And they also talk about that there was another alien invasion in 1974, but not with something red. So I don't.
Is it like a Roswell thing, or
I don't know.
anyway? I feel like they had those guys improv.
Yeah,
They probably didn't have lines, and they just went off.
And then the mom comes in and punches Pete in the face.
Yeah,
Calls him a
and
smug.
the sister holds him down. And Wade gets his trophy, and then like him and Knuckles high five, and then it goes to credits. And I was like, "Is that it?"
It's like they pause it and air as they're high fiving.
And
it's like friends.
It honestly kind of was, but there was an ending sequence after some credits where they were on a motorcycle, and
Wade has his phone.
He's about to play Spotify really loud on his motorcycle.
And he's like, "Oh, we need new tunes. It's the Wade Warrior and Knuckles journey." And so it is the Knuckles television theme song, which is "The Warrior" by Scandal, I think is what
something
it is.
like that.
Yeah. Which is what we've been listening to the whole time. And then Knuckles says,
"That's my jam." He was looking for a jam the whole time. He got his jam, dude. And then it ends like. Is Knuckles living with them now? Does he go back? We don't know. I don't know. It just kind of ends.
Yeah,
and you're
I guess we'll have to find out in the third movie.
I guess so. Or even if.
Yeah, it has to.
It's
just the same actors and stuff. They're going to have to.
I mean, that was it. That's the end of the show.
Do we know anything about the third movie? Like when it's coming out or anything like that?
It should be soon, actually.
Because this seems like it would be a good advertisement for it. But out of the hundreds of advertisement we watched in all 6 episodes.
God, tell me about it.
We did not see any Sonic movies advertised.
I mean, Keanu Reeves just got announced as the voice of Shadow. So I don't know. Maybe it's not even close to being done yet. 2024 film though, so maybe it is. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, what'd you think of it?
It was cute. It was a little bit more adult than I thought they planned it to be.
I don't think so.
The audience.
I mean, that's just I think when it comes to the tone of the Sonic movies, I think it's like the same.
Yeah. I think it would have been better without the millions of commercials. But
Paramount.
Yeah, they did like weird. Some of it was appropriate because there was a fight scene and then it paused like E10 as they advertised SpongeBob Minecraft. But yeah, for 6 episodes they did a good job.
Yeah, I liked it. It's a good show.
That one about the dream sequence.
It seemed like a filler, but he's got to learn how to punch up, I guess. What's important.
Had to level up that way.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Do we get it? Are we gonna get a Tails one then?
I hope so.
We got a Knuckles one. I think we should get a Tails one.
I don't even know what it'd be about.
Fixing things. I don't know.
Fixing things.
Didn't Shadow show up at the end or?
Yeah, he's in the next movie.
And then maybe Ruby will show up.
Who's Ruby?
Oh, what's the?
You mean Amy?
Yes. Why do I keep calling her Ruby?
I don't know.
What's the bat?
Rouge?
Rouge. Maybe it's Rouge.
Rouge might show up with Shadow. They usually are together.
What did you think?
I mean, I liked it a lot. I thought it was pretty good. At first, I wasn't sure. I was like kind of kiddie, and then I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, then it got.
Okay. But yeah, I think I liked it better than Sonic 2. I have a lot of issues with the second Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So this was better than that because I was worried. I was like, I didn't like the second Sonic movie. I think this might be the same tier of ugh.
Are they getting rid of Tom because he was such a big part in the first movie and I felt like he had like
the bit part in the second movie. In the second
one and he's not in here at all.
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to do it. I think he's in the next one though. I mean,
Because the girlfriend was there. Are they married
yeah,
now? Did he
I
get married
think
in the second one? No.
no, because that was his sister's wedding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I guess I guess we'll
Would
talk
you,
to you if
uh,
when we see the
if they
third
just did the
movie.
series instead of doing the movies, what would you think about that? Although it sounded like they spent a lot of money on this.
It seemed like they did.
Yeah,
I think it would be better as a series, to be honest. If we
yeah,
just
I
stopped
think it
making
would
the
have been
movies and
good.
made series, you'd tell more stuff. You'd have those really weird rock opera episodes. I think it could work.
Yeah, I think.
More miniseries with more of the characters, I think would
Yeah.
be great. It should be like Tails and the wife lady. What's her name? Maddie, I think is her name.
That sounds right.
Um,
Yeah.
so Tails and Maddie should like hang out. That
Yeah.
should be another
They're
miniseries.
gonna fix their friggin' out. They're gonna have to fix their house by themselves.
Yeah, it's Home Improvement with Tails and Maddie. It's a sitcom.
Yeah.
It's really great.
It's like Three's Company. All right. Well,
Yeah, excited for Sonic 3. This gave me more hope than what Sonic 2 did.
Yeah, Sonic 2 was fun.
Sonic 2 is kind of rough. I understand why Jim Carrey quit after that.
All right. See
Stay
you guys
tuned next time.